All right, let's start off with a match that was made tonight. Andrade versus Miro.
Go ahead, Shep.
Look, well, I was going to say, I think this match would have a little bit more momentum behind it if CJ Perry would
not be turning into a zombie.
But her fingers falling off, and
oh my God,
that might have been the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. But hopefully she's doing better and getting well. But Miro kind of had that attitude. He was upset that she basically chose Andrade to valet, to manage, whatever you want to call it, and that's what came onto this match. We haven't seen Miro in a while. I feel like Andrade's got some momentum behind him.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, I pick Andrade for 4 points.
Ooh.
All right. I went Miro for 2 points because of the fact that we haven't seen Miro in a while. And this all comes from a story around his wife. So I don't see him losing this. But I only went 2 points because I could be wrong. And I wouldn't be upset if Andrade won this. So.
Yeah, I think this is a toss-up. Went with Miro for 1, but I could see CJ getting involved if she is healthy enough and maybe costing Miro. But I agree with Shep. I think Andrade's got some momentum. But the main reason I went with Miro is just the simple fact he's under contract more going forward than Andrade. I think Andrade's contract runs up in 2024. And unless things change with him, it wouldn't shock me if he jumps back to the WWE, especially since his wife – Charlotte signed a big money extension with the WWE. So go with Miro for 1, but that was my hardest prediction of this all. Is toss-up.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. Next up, I have for the FTW title, FTW rules match, Hook defending against Wheeler Yuta.
With it being an FTW rules match, I mean, that's pretty much hardcore extreme rules. Anything goes, however you want to look at it. I feel that this kind of favors Hook a little more, so I went with Hook for 4.
I went with Yuta for 1. I feel like this is going to be maybe a back and forth feud, and maybe we get a little bit more of these guys going back and forth. So this will kind of get the story going, and I mean, it's okay. This belt can move around. You know, it's not really a belt.
It should move around. It sticks on guys forever, it seems like.
So, I got Yuta for 1.
I have Hook for 2, just being in New York. He's from New York, FTW rules. But the more I think about it, I kind of wish I would have picked Wheeler because maybe the BCC gets involved. And we don't really know who Hook's allies are, and Danhausen maybe. But, yeah. So
who would you rather have in your corner, Claudio or Danhausen to protect you?
I think Claudio I think he could swing Danhausen 200 times.
Yeah, I'm not being evil there.
Being very nice.
I'm being very nice. I'm going to be nice for 2024.
I think I'd go Justin Roberts over Danhausen if Claudio's coming down. So just saying.
But that should be a good match. I could see it once again going either way. That's why I only have 2 on it. So.
Yeah.
How about finally, after a year in the making, kind of, Swerve Strickland versus Keith Lee?
Man, both of these guys are impressive. Both of them have some momentum behind them, even with a loss tonight for Swerve. He's got a lot of momentum behind him. I could not decide who I wanted to win this, so I let my son decide for me, and he picked Keith Lee.
Okay. How many
points? I went with 3.
Okay.
Swerve taking the L tonight. He is too hot to have 2 in a row. This feud needs to be put to bed. Nothing against Keith Lee. I think he's an amazing athlete. Just doesn't have a lot going for him right now. And let's be honest, they're not necessarily winning the ratings war every week, and some of them are a little lower than they want. This guy's hot right now. No way he can take another L. Tonight was a different story in a 3-way, but yeah, I got Strickland for 6.
And I agree, Shep. I'm happy for Keith Lee finally getting a big match on a big pay-per-view. I'm kind of surprised this is the match they're giving Swerve. I kind of figured after Full Gear, couldn't think of the name. After Full Gear, I thought we might get a rubber match with he and Hangman, but they obviously pivoted, and it doesn't look like Hangman's going to be on the pay-per-view unless something happens on Rampage or Collision. And Hangman's buddies, the Bucks, for the first time in AEW history, are not going to be on one of their pay-per-views unless something once again changes. So, but I agree with Shep. I have Swerve for 6 for a lot of the same reasons that he stated. I just think
Now,
it's too
don't
hot.
forget, we do have a battle royal. Hangman could show up in the battle
That's
royal.
true.
He's been known to do
That's
that,
true.
not have a big match, but just show up in the battle royals.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He would not benefit of winning that and getting a TNT title shot.
No, I didn't say he had to win it. I mean, you could have him come out and maybe Nana shows up or something and he gets thrown over that way. So he's set up for a future rematch between Hangman and Swerve.
And he's got a good excuse not to be on the pay-per-view. I mean, he still got slammed through a car windshield a couple weeks ago. So,
yeah. Maybe Paul White will show up in the battle royal.
Yeah, you never know. Captain Insano. He shows no mercy. And the guy who lost that 3-way match or took the pin, Jay White, got to think he's got to be in that battle royal, right? I mean, I don't know if the TNT title shot does him any good, but he's too big of a talent not to have on the pay-per-view.
Right.
But I don't know what else you do with them. So
yeah, I agree with you, Tanner. I think he has got some momentum behind him too, and with the Bullet Club. So
yeah,
which I feel like the Bullet Club. I mean, they're still very popular, but it's lost a little steam with Juice Robinson being on the shelf. Which is too bad.
And he's going to be on the shelf for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I forget what his injury was, but it's pretty serious. Yeah, I think he got to have surgery, I believe. So. Next on the card, TBS Championship Julia Hart versus Abaddon.
Yep.
Is at Hart for 9.
I went Hart for 8.
I have Julia for 8 as well. I haven't really cared about this feud. I thought tonight was kind of pathetic. For a while, I thought Abaddon wasn't even going to show up with the spot with Willow and Statlander with Sky Blue and Julia Hart. I'm like, they're not even going to make, one more angle going into Saturday for your TBS title feud, but they finally did. But it was no physicality whatsoever between the two. And yeah, Julia's too hot of a talent. Just won the title. They're not taking it off her yet.
You heard that, Shep. He just said Julia's hot.
I didn't speak anything false there.
This is, I know Abaddon's been around for a while. She was an Elevation and Dark performer. It's a filler. It's a filler match. It's a filler card, filling some time, given the TBS title some time on there. But
yeah, and she's like kind of like, I don't know why I'm not comparing her to this talent whatsoever, but her character is kind of like the Fiend Bray Wyatt was, where it doesn't need a title, even though the WWE gave the Fiend a title and then they didn't know how to get it off of him, and it was a creative mess. But she's got one of those characters that doesn't need a title. So next up, match that was added tonight, Chris Jericho, returning Sammy Guevara, that we'll speak on here in a bit. Sting and Darby, who also appeared for the first time on Dynamite in a while, versus Ricky Starks and Big Bill, the tag team champs, and Powerhouse Hobbs and Kyle Fletcher.
So Darby made it up and down Mount Everest without dying, like Christian predicted, right?
Oh, yeah, I saw that again today, cut up on Twitter today. I'm like, that was awesome.
I felt like this was kind of thrown together.
Yep.
Kind of like throw 5 pounds of shit in a 3-pound bag.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just to keep Sting relevant through this big little retirement run he's got. Maybe he wants to have a match with Jericho. Him and Jericho do go have a little going back. I do kind of like the way Don Callis and Sammy went at each other tonight. Obviously they got personal with Sammy welcoming a new baby girl in to the world. He talked about he didn't show up for work for 5 months. He got really personal. So I kind of like the back and forth there. Again, they're just trying to get, something for these guys to do. Sting doesn't lose on pay-per-view, so I got Team Sting for 5 points.
Again, Sting doesn't lose. I did enjoy the back and forth. Maybe it was just me, but it kind of looked like that painting with Sammy. He had blood coming down the side of his mouth, and it kind of looked like it was on his arm too, under the baby's head. But yeah, I went Team Sting, but for 1 point.
Okay. I went team Sting for 7. I agree. Yeah, Sting doesn't lose. If he loses any match, it's going to be his retirement match, I think.
Right. Right.
I like the Callis and Sammy stuff, but and I tweeted this from our account. Sammy is AEW's version of the Big Show, as far as when Big Show was in WWE, how he went in WCW. He was heel 1 week, face 2 weeks. Heel, face. I mean, Sammy's that same way. They cannot decide which direction they want to go with him. And the poor guy can't get away from Chris Jericho. He just can't.
He's never going to get away from Jericho.
I mean, the last time we saw him, he turned on Jericho. So now, 2 months later, he's back and they're friends again. It's just kind of like, oh, man, I think it'd be good for his career if he could just go on his own. And I know they had a pivot with the Golden Jets thing because Kenny getting sick. But I just want to see Sammy do his own thing. But this will still be an interesting. I mean, anytime we get Sting on TV, it's fun. And now, especially this late in his career, before he retires on March 3rd, we got to really appreciate it for what it is. So,
and then before Sting and Darby came down, Ricky Starks and Midget Bill attacked him.
Yes,
and I immediately thought we're going to get that tag match this Saturday, just because Kenny might be out for a while, and they still have that tag team title opportunity, and it's you don't have a tag title match on the card, so I thought that's kind of where they were pivoting, and then Sting and Darby came out of nowhere, and then we get the 8-man tag, which is I think something that Tony Khan loves to take away from New Japan, because I think they're the king of the 8-man tags. But
I could see this being on the card, the match before the main event.
Yeah, because this match isn't going to steal the show.
No, but it could still be an entertaining one. Sting will jump off something probably, and it could over-deliver. I guess Sting tag matches have done that quite a few times.
Well, I tell you, I thoroughly enjoy Fletcher's work.
Yeah.
I like his new little cocky character now, as they made him the ROH TV champ. Since his tag partner's out with, I think, torn ACL, right?
Yeah, Mark Davis, yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to be out for a while. So you got to give this guy a new little look. So he's got the 3-piece black suit. I think he is he could be a single star. So him and Sammy could put on, I think, a killer match.
Yeah, they could. And Sammy forgot him tonight. And Sammy's promo, he talked about Hobbs and Takeshita, but he forgot Fletcher, because Fletcher was even on camera like, what about me? Pointing at himself. Yeah. I don't know if that was on purpose or just he accidentally forgot. So, yeah. Next up on the card, I got the TNT Championships no disqualification match. Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland. We saw Christian win in their first match against each other. This thing gets more and more heated every week. And tonight they were supposed to have a sit-down interview with Lexi Nair, but that did not happen as Adam went berserk on Christian, to say the least.
Yeah. I'm going with my prediction. The last time these two faced, it'll probably come back to bite me in the ass again, but I'm going Adam Copeland for 6.
Okay.
It just makes sense to me.
TNT title's becoming rated R.
I don't see how this feud ends without a bloodbath of a match. I think these two will do that. I think there'll be outside interference everywhere.
Oh, indeed.
Multiple individuals involved. I've scratched this out twice. I picked this guy, scratched him out, picked the other guy, and then right before we went live, I scratched it out and changed it again. I got Adam Copeland for 2.
Well, we agree across the board. I have Adam Copeland for 4. And I can hear people right now. Well, Adam Copeland's too big for the TNT title. But the fact is, he's been back in pro wrestling for his last run since 2020. He hasn't held any title of any kind. So I think this is a good one for him to hold.
And not to interrupt you.
Oh, you're fine.
But depending on what happens to our world champion, you need a prominent belt on television that has a story behind it. Not the All Atlantic Championship, what the hell they call it now?
International.
The International, sorry. The International Championship is just, hey, let's kick off the show, put 2 guys in and go have a wrestling match. So it's kind of taken a little bit of a backseat. So if you don't have a champion on TV every week, which that's a whole nother discussion we'll get into later, you're going to have it. So having a guy, a WWE Hall of Famer holding this belt and on television every week, it could work.
Yeah. It would bring some prestige back to it, I guess, or give it some more prestige. I mean, Cody was a great TNT champion. The late, great Brody Lee was a great TNT champion. I wish he was still with us, of course. It's crazy. It's been 3 years already, and I would have liked to seen him get another reign with that thing instead of it's just the short reign he had with Cody there in the Daily's Place pandemic era that we were in. But, Darby's held it, Miro's held it, Sammy, Scorpio Sky. But yeah, I think and Christian's done a great job with the title. And I think a lot of people have really enjoyed his title reign, but I think putting on Adam Copeland would be pretty cool going into 2024.
And again, we talk about Adam Copeland and going back to the, he's too big for that. Maybe he is, but holding a title like the TNT Championship takes some pressure off of him from having to have these big, long, drawn-out matches.
True.
Like we've seen in the AEW World Champion picture. A lot of those matches are 30, 45, 60 minutes even, sometimes even longer than that. And this allows Copeland to come out, hit a quick 10-minute match, 15-minute match, and go home. So this allows him to have that gold run, one more championship run in his career, if that's what he chooses to do, without the pressure of having to put on these spectacular 30 to 60 minute matches.
Yeah, no, very good point and well said. So I'm looking forward to that match. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I am too.
The Continental Classic Finals for the Triple Crown Championship. We found out that John Moxley won the gold bracket tonight and Eddie Kingston won the blue bracket. So the old allies / rivals will be duking it out one-on-one. So technically Eddie is defending his championships for a new championship.
And I know this sounds crazy. I went with Kingston for 5. We talked when this first started that when Kingston said he was in it and he said, I'm putting my belts up every time. We all said Kingston's going the whole way. And then we kind of got jerked around a little bit with him losing the first 2 matches. And now they've built up this huge comeback story where Mox has only lost once. Kingston's lost twice. He had to fight back because he was almost eliminated. And as much as the crowd is behind Kingston in New Japan and over here, I think putting this on Kingston will do great things for him. And we'll see some emotion that we haven't seen yet.
If anybody won the first match besides Mox, Eddie wouldn't have won the match tonight because Eddie doesn't match up good with Swerve or with Jay. That would have been a Danielson. So as soon as Mox won, I said, all right, Kingston's going to do it. Had a hell of a match. Was a pay-per-view match that we got to see free on television. I'm going with Eddie for 3. And the reason is I think he pulls this off because Mox is going for a bigger title in Wrestle Kingdom. That'll get more publicity, and it won't be on the New Japan Strong shows. It's not going to be on ROH. So it fits Eddie better, and it's in Eddie's hometown. So sounds like I should put more than 3 points on it, but damn it, that's what I did.
Are you surprised Mox is on the card with Wrestle Kingdom 18 next week? Because, I was thinking tonight, I'm like, man, Danielson doesn't have a place on the card then. Well, he's got Okada next week, and he's still healing up from his injury, so it's probably a good thing to give him a few days extra rest.
Well, he's more banged up than Mox. And it's been well documented how banged up he is, but he came out and said, look, I'm in the pinnacle of my career. I just deal with it. Mm-hmm. I mean, and you know how I don't want to call him straight edge because that overfits, but you know how clean he is. The guy has never probably been in the same room as a pain pill. So
right.
He finds other ways to do it. The guy had a hemp championship once.
That was great when he was the environmental champion. That was classic.
But
Captain Planet.
I think it's typical Mox. He's going to probably do this show, and he's going to hop on a plane and fly over there, get acquainted, and do Wrestle Kingdom with maybe one of the top 5 wrestlers in the world right now, Will Ospreay.
The Billy Goat coming to AEW in 2024.
So
and David Finlay. He's not coming to AEW, but that's also who's against Mox.
Yes. Did you see David Finlay's quote today about?
I did.
With he's like, look, the only time we ever talk about it is when I go over to dinner once a week to my parents' house, and his dad always says, "Hey, you want to come work with me?" And he's like, I got other shit to do.
Yeah, maybe someday.
Maybe someday when but. I'm looking forward to it. Wrestle Kingdom card is a banger right now.
It's loaded.
Oh, yeah.
Loaded.
And it should be. It should be.
And Ace, the new president of New Japan. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Good for that company, I think. I think he's going to do a good job with that. So,
yeah.
I also have Eddie Kingston winning, and I have him. I don't remember how many points I have on this. I have 5. 5 for Eddie. So,
all right.
And what a win for him tonight over Danielson. I enjoyed both of the Continental Classic matches tonight. I thought the triple threat to kick it off was awesome. And then Danielson and Kingston were so hard hitting. You knew it was going to be. And man, the crowd was behind Eddie. And love how Moxley acknowledged that in the promo. And that's Eddie's biggest win, at least in AEW, if not his whole career tonight against Danielson. And he can even up it against Moxley just with everything on the line. And Eddie's been getting pushed by AEW, but a win like this puts him over the top going into 2024.
Well, I just said a top 5 wrestler in the world. I would put Daniel up there as well, and he pinned him clean tonight. So, and it doesn't make Daniel look bad at all. You saw his chest; it was hamburger meat. The guy had a broken orbital bone. His arm is like 60%, he said.
Yep.
And he's turning around and he's going to Wrestle Kingdom to face Okada. So
face the Rainmaker, who he says he legit wants to break his arm.
So I can imagine how hard hitting or how stiff that match will be.
We need to sit back and appreciate Bryan Danielson. We know this is his last year as a full-time competitor. And then he still might pop up now and then in AEW, but not full-time. And I think it's going to be a hell of a run for him in 2024. It's already been in 2023 since he made that announcement, but I think it's going to be a hell of a fun.
If his body can hold up.
Yeah. Good point.
Yep.
Good point. So, All right, 2 more matches on the card. The AEW Women's World Title, Toni Storm versus Shep's favorite, Riho.
Shep, I'll let you go first.
Storm for 7.
I went Storm for 9.
I went timeless Toni Storm for 9. No way they're taking the title off of her for a few more months, I'd say. And, I know I'm going to get flack on X probably, but I'm not a Riho fan. I don't see it. When Mariah May tonight was running away from her, I'm like, come on. Come on. What are we doing?
Yeah, so I think I made a comment about it last week, and then on Twitter, I just heard everybody sticking up for her, saying people are shaming her because of her size. And I've never really – the only time I ever shamed because of her size is when she was working with Nyla Rose. And she beat Nyla Rose clean for the title, and it was just like, yeah. So, yeah. She's athletic.
Yes, she is.
She can do some stuff, but it's just like
I don't like them putting her in the title picture as often as they have, I guess. I mean, there's other place on the card for her, I think.
I think the women's division in AEW has some really superb talent.
Right.
That is just not clicking.
Right.
I think it's been a disappointing run for Saraya. Ruby Soho has fizzled out. I mean, your hottest thing right now, I think, is Heart and Sky Blue.
Yes, because you're missing Britt Baker. You're missing another horse and Jamie Hayter.
And Thunder Rosa just came back. Just came back.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to push Sky Blue. I think Sky Blue tonight was like her 68th match of the year.
Yeah.
And
somebody was comparing that to Anna Jay, only had like 20-some matches this year. So
I think Sky Blue's only like 23 or 24 years old.
Pretty young. She's pretty still young. So. I wouldn't call her green, I guess, now, but she's still not a veteran by any means. So, yeah, that'd be the stunner of the night for me if Toni Storm gets the title taken off of her. So. And lastly, for the World Championship, MJF versus Samoa Joe. And to put some intrigue on this tonight, we saw them defending their ROH or defending Adam Cole and MJF's ROH tag team titles against 2 of the masked Devil's henchmen. And Samoa Joe is beat up backstage, holding his knee. But MJF's like, screw it, I'm taking these 2 guys on by myself. He's doing pretty good against both of them until one of the goons, a third of the 4, comes out from underneath the ring, hits him with a pipe. One of them hits the heat seeker on MJF and then cheats with the feet on the ropes for the 1, 2, 3. So the Devil's henchmen, whoever they might be, these 2 are the new ROH tag team champs. We see the rest of the henchmen get around, beat down MJF. Joe comes out. The henchmen all run away from Joe, who's hobbling to the ring with a chair. And then the Devil appears, flashes away, and a message comes up and says, "Pleasure doing business with you." And Joe hits the "Pleasure doing business with you," as Paul says underneath his headline under there on the StreamYard here. And Joe hits MJF with a chair. So he was in cahoots with the Devil the whole time.
Here's the thing. It was an okay segment. I know MJF can't have long matches right now. He's nursing that shoulder. We haven't seen him work in a couple weeks because of the Devil in the backstage segments. I get that. They've done that well. But if we do not see who the Devil is Saturday, this story is losing momentum.
Yep.
At a huge pace.
Yep.
I almost thought we were going to see it tonight. I did love Justin Roberts. I love the way he announced. He was just like, "And your new champions," and then he just went silent because obviously nobody has any idea who they are. But we gotta have the Devil
reveal. We gotta have it.
We gotta have it Saturday. We gotta have it Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, I think this might have been one of those quick flips again, because I still think Adam Cole was originally supposed to be the Devil, but of course his injury prevented that from happening. So I think that's probably the only real change we saw in this storyline. But yeah, it's time for the payoff.
I'm not so sure, Paul, and I could be completely wrong on this, but my theory is the Devil storyline wasn't even supposed to be anything until Cole's injury, and they came up with it on the fly. That's my theory.
That's
good with
very
that.
TK-ish.
Yeah. Oh crap! I just lost my story. 'Cause I think if Adam Cole's healthy, I think he's the one to take the title off of MJF. If it was at Full Gear or at World's End, I think he was the guy that was going to take it off of him. But then TK pivoted is like, we got to have something in place for this, and Adam Cole can still be involved in some ways. So that's just my philosophy. I could be way wrong on that.
So before we make our picks, Paul has the number 7 left. Tanner has the number 3 left. And I have the number 8 left.
Oh my God.
So, depending on who we pick, there is with Tanner, there is a significant point aspect here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Mr. Champion, I'll let you go first.
Well, I am picking the champion MJF, and I know he's beat up. I mean, for real, with the labrum and everything. And this is in his hometown of Long Island. I mean, it would be a crazy finish to take it off of him, and with the Devil interference or whatever it is, rips everything away from him. We see him lose the ROH tag titles, then he could lose the world title, and then because spoiler alert, I think Adam Cole is the Devil. Then he could lose his best friend. He could lose everything all at once. So maybe I'm looking at potential matchups in 2024 with him as the champ, and I'm thinking they still got to go with him as the champ. So MJF for 3, but this could bite me in the ass.
Go ahead, Paul.
Well, if it's going to bite you in the ass, it's really going to bite me in the ass. I have gone back and forth all week on this. I mean, I struggled all day today, crossed it out. I kind of did what Shep did, crossed it out, recircled, crossed it out, rewrote it down, settled with MJF for 7.
I'm impressed though. You said you went back and forth, struggled, but you put a big number on it.
I did. Because maybe it's the whole old school wrestling in me. Whoever goes over loses at the pay-per-view. Maybe that's why I stuck with the big number, but I don't know.
No.
Every championship reign I've had in KOP has come down to MJF in some way, shape, or form.
It really has.
He screws me if I don't select him. He screws me if I do select him. So,
like me and the Elite.
More time.
So,
yeah.
And Ship with the women's division, and as a whole.
Yeah, I think I got a layup on the women's division this week.
I think yeah.
I have MJF for 8.
Okay.
Now, the only reason I have gone back on this is because it came out in the last 7 days that he really hasn't signed a contract for 2024.
Are you buying that though?
And he came out and made a comment too. Again, it's MJF. If for some reason he loses this match, all of a sudden I believe he has not signed a contract because TK's got to protect that belt.
Right.
Now, I don't believe Samoa Joe should carry that championship very long. There's a lot more guys in that company. Samoa Joe, if this is all true, Samoa Joe's in the right place at the right time. Okay? So if for some I don't want to follow the conspiracy theory. Of course, again, we're talking about freaking professional wrestling, I know. I think he has signed a contract. That's why he came back a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's just playing it. But for some reason, if Samoa Joe somehow goes over here, the contract rumors are going to go through the freaking roof.
Yes, they are.
Because they're saying TK's protecting the belt. You lose as you leave the territory type deal, MJF. I don't know. I think MJF has a long title reign. I think
he already has.
And I think he signs I think he's already signed a contract.
Yeah, I do
really
too. I think just with the way they've promote him as champ and everything, and switch him to babyface. I just feel like he has to, and I think, like you said, I think it'll be really telling to see if he walks out of this or not, as far as if he signed that contract, because Tony kind of got burnt by that once with Cody Rhodes. When Cody had the TNT title, was working on a handshake deal, and then he had to have Sammy win in the ladder match. I don't think he wants to go down that road again. So,
no.
Yeah. But it should be a fun pay-per-view. Saturday night from the Nassau Coliseum, Long Island, New York. I think ticket sales have been pretty good